How is everybody doing? I know it sounds dumb when there's nobody here, but I don't care. I'm having fun. Anyways, let's turn that off. Alright, so, I had a fun evening yesterday. I went to a rap concert yesterday, so if my voice sounds like shit, there you go. Thank you, Miles Kennedy and Alter Bridge, for doing that to me. So, let's get right into things. Last week, I completely forgot to mention that there is a Reddit for the channel, and I forgot to mention it because I'm an idiot. So, on that Reddit, there was a post that I put up asking about if the Jets are going to win the Super Bowl. One person found that post and actually managed to vote on it, so thank you to that person for doing that. The result, because, it's not really plural, but the result for that post is in, and as you can see, our friend says that the Jets are not going to win the Super Bowl and will instead lose in the wild card. So, that's a bold statement to make, especially when, to be fair, you're the only one voting. But, hey, best Stafford Sports Show for you. I forget to mention things, and we get stuff like this. So, today we're going to pick up about where we left off, kind of, because there's still a lot more that we need to go over with the offseason from pretty much the whole NFL this year. Today, what the plan is, did I really just go this whole time on mute? Anyways, welcome to the Stafford Sports Show. So as I just said, because apparently for whatever reason my OBS is showing me two different mics, even though I'm only using one. So, yeah. As I just said, there's a Reddit that I forgot to mention last week. And one person found it, and I swear to God, I did not vote on this. I just put it up. And they said they were going to lose in the wild card. So, now that you guys can actually hear me, Jesus, gotta love technology. Now that you guys can actually hear me, we're going to talk about the rest of the AFC East in the offseason. Last week, we covered the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers. This week, I want to start things off by discussing the Buffalo Bills and the rest of the AFC East. So it's going to be a little bit different than last week's, but we're still going to try to kind of do the same thing that we did. So, if I can figure this out, there we go. Alright, so what the fuck is my computer doing? I want that and I want that. Alright. So, Jesus Christ, that is not going to work. I had this all set up before we started. So, let's talk about Damar Hamlin for a minute. So, last year, as we know, he was involved with that play regarding, I forget who hit him, but it was Buffalo against Cincinnati, and he took a really, really hard hit and was pretty much left fighting for his life, unfortunately. But luckily for him, he made quite the recovery and is supposed to be playing football again this year. Zach, I can see your thing in chat. I have a much better lighting system now than I did last week. I might go over that later, but yeah, it's much better lighting. So anyways, Damar Hamlin, he made quite the recovery and is expected to be playing football this season. Now, I'm sure we are all expecting him to win Comeback Player of the Year because if you nearly die on a football field and you come back and play next season, you are expected to win Comeback Player of the Year. There's no question about it. But what I want to bring up is what kind of player are the Buffalo Bills really getting? Because how good is Damar Hamlin really? So we're going to take a look at this here. I pulled his stats up because, granted, he's only been in the league for, 2 years. So looking at where he's at, he's really not getting a ton of action on the field, or at least the play isn't really going to him, which as a defensive back, you don't want the offense throwing it to you because you want to stop them from getting that play to begin with. So looking at where Damar Hamlin's at, he's only really defended 4 passes since coming into the NFL. And the other thing that I'm seeing, he's getting some tackles. This, to me, I don't like seeing safeties with high tackle numbers. I mean, he had fucking 91 tackles last season before going down. I don't like to see that because this, to me, granted, we don't have the footage today to really watch what he's doing, but this, to me, tells me that players are getting open and he's coming in to tackle them. If he's providing tight coverage, though, then he really shouldn't be getting 91 tackles. That to me, I'm not the biggest fan of that. Let's see. He's also got a couple sacks. That is nice to see because you never know when the safeties are going to come down and try to get to the quarterback. There is some risk involved with play calling. We know this, but looking at where Damar Hamlin is at this moment in terms of football, I don't really see him as being this guy who's going to come in and is all of a sudden going to change everything for Buffalo. I'm still expecting him to win the Comeback Player of the Year, but I don't see him really being a difference maker, unfortunately. So that's just a little bit of what the Buffalo Bills have done. Let's talk about where did that go? My computer is just a fucking mess, apparently. All right, so let's talk about what Buffalo really did during the offseason this year. Granted, Buffalo is really trying to compete. You would expect them to really bring in a ton of things because they want to try to make that final push for the Super Bowl. They had a fairly quiet offseason for the most part. They did bring in Taylor Rapp from the Rams. What's nice about this, though, is that Taylor Rapp is a safety, much like Damar Hamlin, and I believe Buffalo still has Micah Hyde, so yeah, Buffalo's really getting loaded up here. Part of me wonders if bringing in Taylor Rapp is supposed to be a fallback in case Damar Hamlin goes down again. Obviously, we don't want to see that happen, but I mean, you never know. You really just never know in this league. So I'm not sure what Buffalo's plan is going to be for this. But looking at Taylor Rapp, who I had on here, Jesus, this stream is already going to shit. God damn. Alright, hang on. How's everybody's day going? I hope it's going better than this right now. Taylor Rapp. Alright, let's look at defense. Alright. So, let's take a look at things here. So, Taylor Rapp came in from the Rams. Again, very, very similar stats. 2020, yeah, he only played in 9 games, but still. Looking at his stats, though, he's still getting a lot of tackles, which, again, I don't like seeing safeties get a lot of tackles. I'm sick so I didn't have to go to the field overnight. I mean, Zach, we all know you're sick in the head. So, I don't like seeing safeties getting a ton of tackles. But when you look at the passes defended, this is what I want to see. You know, sure, players are testing him. They want to see if he can make that play. They want to see if they can beat him for any reason. But again, I don't like seeing all these tackles. Because, again, this to me just shows that players are getting open. Players are beating him. Yeah, that's just me. I feel like Taylor Rapp, again, not going to be a difference maker in Buffalo, but he is certainly going to be a threat on defense. I don't think testing Taylor Rapp is the best option for quarterbacks, but I still feel like this is something that teams should be prepared for. So that is where Buffalo is at with that. In terms of what they got in the draft, I'm going to try to go over the top 3 picks for each team or so. Because, let's be honest, there's a lot that get made in this league, and I don't think we want to necessarily discuss every damn draft pick. So the first player that Buffalo drafted this year was a tight end, Dalton Kincaid. I'm really horrible with names, but yeah, Dalton Kincaid drafted in the first round, coming in from Utah. They also drafted an offensive guard, Osiris Torrance, 2nd round pick from Florida, and their 3rd round pick out of Tulane, linebacker Dorian Williams. I'm not going to focus on the draft picks today. We might go back to them later on in the season, but for right now, I just wanted to talk about Damar Hamlin and Taylor Rapp. So next, we're going to move on to the Miami Dolphins. We're moving quick today. Miami had a really big move in the offseason this year, bringing in Jalen Ramsey from the Rams. And they also drafted another quarterback in Cam Smith, 2nd round out of South Carolina. And they also drafted halfback Devin Achane, however you pronounce his name, a 3rd round pick out of A&M. So obviously, Jalen Ramsey, big name. You could very, very well argue he's the best cornerback in the NFL right now. And what we're going to do, once again, we're going to pull up his stats. So, look at Ramsey. This is what I want to see out of the safeties. And, yeah, even the cornerbacks. Not high amounts of tackles, but still very effective. Cornerback is a much harder position because there's a lot more action going on. So yeah, you're going to see some inflated numbers. But again, this is what I want to see. Now, I think Jacksonville really, really messed up. But at the same time, Jacksonville was going down, so they had to trade him and get as much value for Jalen Ramsey as we can. We're not going to go over that trade today, but I mean, even when Jalen Ramsey was a rookie, look at just how effective he was. He defended 14 passes as a rookie cornerback. He forced a fumble out, 65 tackles. That's all right. Again, you know how I am with tackles. But then he can put pressure on the quarterbacks. That's something to keep in mind. And as you can see, these numbers, as he entered 2017, bit of a drop, but not bit of a drop. I'm looking at the wrong number. He managed to defend a few more passes. I feel like more teams were testing him. Those tackle numbers went down, so to me that tells me they're not trying to throw to him knowing what he can do. Once he went over to the Rams, though, he did very good with the Rams when you watched the footage, but the numbers do kind of start to stagnate a bit. You know, he's only really defending... where are these numbers at? 2019. Yeah, he only defended 5 passes. So either teams aren't targeting him or he got beat. Most people would say, it's Jalen Ramsey. They're not targeting him. But we don't know because we don't have the footage. Is he getting beat? Are they not targeting him? We don't know at this very moment. I'm sure if I pulled up the footage, we'd be able to tell. But the past couple years with the Rams, he started coming back. 16 passes defended, 18 passes defended. Tackle numbers did go up a little bit, but still, you do not want to mess with Jalen Ramsey. That's all I'm going to say. He is definitely one of, if not the best cornerbacks in the league right now. There's no getting around that. So that's Miami. We're going to head back north up to New England. And New England is the first team that I'm going to go over that actually had a loss during the offseason. New England lost tight end Jonnu Smith to the Falcons. Now, we're going to talk about the Falcons, I think, in 3 weeks, I think. Because the Falcons have something that really I'm not so sure about. Again, we're not going to talk about that today. But what we are going to talk about is what the Patriots gained in the offseason through free agency. They gained Juju Smith-Schuster from the Chiefs. In the draft, they were able to pick up Christian Gonzalez in the first round out of Oregon, defensive end Keon White from Georgia Tech in the second, and Marte Mapu from Sacramento State in the third round. Now, Juju Smith-Schuster is interesting. He is very much a character. Because we all remember when he was getting heavy on the TikToks, and then he got blown up in the game by the Bengals because he was dancing on their midfield logo. Excuse me. But what I want to do, let's take a look at what Juju is doing in Pittsburgh. So, his rookie year, it's a good rookie year, but not something spectacular. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with this. Ben Roethlisberger really isn't throwing well, so yeah, we can get over that. 2018, this is where people really started to take notice of him. Because 2018 was the year that he first hit 1,000 yards. Now, when you look at these numbers, something should stick out to you here. There's only 1 year that he hit 1,000 yards. That was 2018. He's come very, very close. 2019 sticking out like a sore thumb, though. Now, again, this is when people really started to take notice of him. But then 2019 comes around. He had quite the drop. Granted, he only played in 12 games, but only picking up 500 yards when you're coming off of a 1,000-yard season, damn near 1,500-yard season. That's a little ridiculous. The catch percentage, yeah, it dropped down to 60. But still, that's not something you want to see out of a guy who's expected to be the next Antonio Brown, if not better. And yes, I said Antonio Brown before he went nuts. 2020 rolls around. 2020 was the fucking TikTok year for Juju. And, let's just say he got blown up really, really bad. Because 831 yards for a guy who is posting, what was he posting? 3 or 4 TikToks a day, I think. And talking shit about other teams, along with the rest of the team, mind you. Let's not talk about that wild card game against the Browns. Which one of the greatest moments in NFL history. So 831 yards is definitely an improvement from 2019. But if you're going to talk all that shit, you better be able to back it up. Juju didn't back it up. The team didn't back it up. And Pittsburgh, we all know, was the worst team to start 11-0 in the history of the NFL. So looking at what the Patriots are getting coming out of these last 2 years with Pittsburgh and Kansas City, granted, only 5 games in 2021. But when you look at Kansas City, I don't think New England is getting the type of player that we all expected Juju to be. I think Juju, yes, he does get a lot of credit. Biased, shut up. I think Juju gets a lot of credit for what he does. It's certainly deserved, but I don't think Juju should be looked at as a game changer. I think there's just too many factors when it comes to that. And so I feel like the Patriots are biting off a little bit more than they thought they would. I don't think they're going to get quite the return from Juju that they think they're going to get. On top of the fact that Daniel Jones, he's on the Giants. Mac Jones can't really throw a football very well, as has been proven multiple times. So, yeah, for their sake, hopefully for the Patriots, I'm wrong. And they'll be able to come back and start just kicking ass like we got used to them doing when they had Tom Brady. So I'm going to take a quick break because, like I said before my mic started being all weird, that concert I was at last night, it messed with my voice a little bit. So I'm going to take a break real quick. 5 minutes maybe. Before I go, I'm not going to mess this up again. There is a Reddit that has stuff posted to it. This week, there are two polls. The first one I want to show you asking who is going to win the AFC East. You got Buffalo, New England, the Jets, and Miami. I know last week's poll someone voted that the Jets are only going to get the wild card, but it's only fair that I put them in here. So we're going to leave it at that for now. I'm going to take a break and come back. When we come back, though, we're going to be talking about the AFC North, starting with the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to be moving through this real quick because there's a lot to cover, especially once we get to Baltimore. I got a lot to cover when we get to Baltimore. So, all right, I will be right back, guys. Let me get this going for you. Alright guys, welcome back. Alright, so we're just going to jump straight into it. We've talked about the AFC East with Miami, Buffalo, and New England. Last week I talked about the Jets all on their own, so no need to reiterate all that. If you want to see what my thoughts were, it was mostly directed at Aaron Rodgers, because that's the big story. That stream is still uploaded to the channel from last week if you want to go check that out. But for right now, let's jump straight into the Cincinnati Bengals. So in free agency, they were able to pick up tight end Irv Smith from the Vikings. And during the draft, they picked up Myles Murphy out of Clemson in the first round. Cornerback DJ Turner out of Michigan. And Jordan Battle out of Alabama. So, with Cincinnati, we're just going to talk about the rookies that they have coming in. So let me flip this over to Sports Reference. I got this website for years. I absolutely love it. So looking at Myles Murphy. This is exactly what you want to see from a defensive end coming out of college. Excuse me, Jesus. So in 2021, 8 sacks. 2022, 6.5 sacks. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember offhand. Wait, this is 2023. I'm an idiot. Never mind. So, Jesus, I cannot fucking talk today. But yeah, 8 sacks, 6.5 sacks. Very, very good. And then his tackles, pretty much hitting the 20s every time. And actually his total tackles, he's hitting 40. So that's really what you want to see for sure. This is somebody that I think is going to come to Cincinnati, and assuming he's going to be the starter. You're looking at the Reddit. I don't know what the hell is going on with my thing today. All right, now you're looking at his stats. All right, so yeah. 8 sacks, 6.5 sacks, total tackles, 37, 39, 40, just like I just mentioned before. This is somebody that, assuming he's going to be starting in Cincinnati, he is going to become quite, I'm not going to say a difference maker, but he's certainly going to be a threat on that Cincinnati defense. I feel like if Cincy can develop him, then maybe they have their Myles Garrett like the Cleveland Browns have. Maybe they have, who was that, Calais Campbell back in, what was it, Arizona he was in? I'm not going to say J.J. Watt. You're not going to find another J.J. Watt anytime soon. But yeah, not necessarily a difference maker, but not somebody that teams should overlook. The other player I mentioned from Cincy was DJ Turner. Now, as a defensive back, this is more in line with what I would like to see. Not a ton of tackles. And then in terms of passes defended, 10-7. This is great. It sucks that it's with Michigan, because let's be honest, Michigan is overrated. And yes, that is biased, but I don't care. This is what I want to see. Again, not going to be a difference maker. I'm not expecting him to have as much of an impact as Myles Murphy, but is still going to be someone to keep an eye on with Cincy's defense. So that is where Cincy is at right now. Next we're going to head on up north in Ohio to Cleveland. In the offseason, this is a big one right here. And you know what? I think we're going to come back to this. So in free agency, they picked up an offensive guard in Wes Martin from the Commanders. They picked up Marquise Goodwin from the Seahawks. I'm going to briefly cover that. I'm not really going to mention the draft for Cleveland because I got some thoughts on that. But we're going to talk about that. And they also didn't really draft till the third round. So, yeah. So, the first question that I have for Cleveland is, can Deshaun Watson throw a football to begin with? So, coming out of Houston, you can see that 2021 isn't listed here. Reason being is because Deshaun Watson didn't play at all in 2021. Now, looking at his stats, though, I've never considered Deshaun Watson to be a game changer. He is certainly a very good quarterback statistically. I mean, 2018, 4,000 yards. We talked about Aaron Rodgers throwing for 4,000 yards numerous times last week. 2019, 3,800. 2020, 4,800. 4,800 fucking yards. That is insane. And then his completion percentage that year, 70%. So, this kind of goes back to Aaron Rodgers winning MVP based on the media bias. But at the same time, Houston went 4-12 this year in 2020. They went 4-12. So, Aaron Rodgers is a difference maker, is a game changer, but I don't see Deshaun Watson being a game changer. Coming into Cleveland, though, look at this. This is pathetic. He played in 6 games. I will give him credit for getting 1,000 yards in 6 games, but to go 3-3 and only hit 58.2% completions. When you actually watch the games, oh my God, was it sad to watch, because there were times where Deshaun Watson looked like he deserved to be relegated back to college, back to playing in Clemson. Granted, when he was playing in Clemson, yes, he was very, very good. But I don't think he's someone... Has the music been playing the whole time? Okay. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I need to step away from this because I am having technological issues and I don't want this to be what the show is known for. So I'm going to step away. We're going to come back later in the week to this because I need to figure out what is going on with my technology right now. So I'm sorry for this poor stream, but I want to be proud of this, and I'm not particularly happy with the stream right now. Again, I apologize for all the issues that are going on with this, but we're going to come back later in the week, and we're going to finish this up for you guys. So.